So next we're going to get into the Thunder and the Rockets, a great game from Houston. The Rockets pulled out on top 113 to 109. James Harden with one of his classic games, 41 points. Didn't shoot too well from the field, but still, well, actually, take that back. He actually did shoot decently from the field. And, I mean, you have to if you're James Harden. Paul George for Oklahoma City led him with 28 points. But a great game for the Rockets. To me, this will give them the spark that they need to get back into the playoff hunt in the Western Conference here. So we'll start with you, Zai.
Um, I think you look at it like James Harden's really good at home. Always shoots the three ball way better at home. Clint Capella had like 22 rebounds if I recall. I mean he had a so when Capella plays like that, they're a different team. I still think the Rockets are a pretender. They're not a contender. They don't play good enough defense. Um, the Thunder didn't have Abrinas. They're still missing Andre Roberson, who they think is going to come back. So I think once you put the Thunder, all the pieces together, the Thunder are a better team. But overall, it was a great game from James Harden. He really just carried them to a win. But the Rockets just have major issues still because they haven't looked good with Paul and Harden on the floor together this year. I think it was a good win, but I still think they're a pretender. So overall, I just look at it as in like, James Harden just had one of those games where he put the team on his back, and Capella played his role really well. But Gordon's not shooting the ball great this year. PJ Tucker's having an okay year, but other than that, like, really looks to me like they're missing Ariza. Because they just don't have much, and that was a big loss for them. And I think they got a little lucky, to be honest. Like, Rivers came in and hit two big threes in the fourth quarter, and he's not going to do that all year. He's probably going to be more of a problem than he is a help from what we've seen in his past. Like, he can never stay anywhere. So, again, I think this is just the Rockets were at home, and James Harden outdueled George and Westbrook together. So that's just my take.
Yeah, I mean the Rock. See, the thing is that the bottom of the Western Conference is actually a lot stronger than the Eastern Conference. But I mean, there's not really much comparison Western Eastern there. But you got teams like the Kings who, to me, will fall apart. I mean, yes, they're young and upcoming, but they don't have the experience that the Rockets have. And San Antonio, they'll sneak in. I think this won't their struggles won't last. Utah, to me, their struggles definitely won't last. So team like the Rockets, a win like that's a chance for them to start piling wins together, start stringing them. They got Boston at home tomorrow night. So that'll be a big game for them to prove themselves. And I think they can win that game if they can do what they did to Oklahoma City last night.
Yeah, I got a couple takes on this one. A being the fact that can anybody on the Thunder box out? We always talk about Steven Adams being a perfect rebounder in the NBA, and I mean he gets outdueled by Clint Capella, 23 rebounds to 7. Capella's out of the 23 he had, 10 came on the offensive end. So that right there, I mean that's huge, especially when you have shooters like Harden, you have shooters like Eric Gordon. I agree with Zai. I think the Ariza departure definitely is hurting a little bit. They put a Band-Aid on it by signing Austin Rivers. But looking at their box score, their bench is 3 guys deep. They go Rivers, Green, and Nene off the bench. Besides that, we haven't seen a lot of Brandon Knight, who, let's be honest, he hasn't been what he was chalked up to be when coming out of that draft class. But still a talent. Michael Carter-Williams still a talent. Marquise Chris coming over from the Suns. Guys that can contribute, and they're not even playing. So kind of odd. Same thing I have for the Thunder. I believe the Thunder, they had a meltdown in the second half and kind of lost in the second half to the Rockets last night, mainly because they had no bench support. I think the Thunder are one of the deeper teams in the Western. When you have guys like Noel coming off the bench, like Zyla said, when Abrinas gets healthy and when Roberson gets healthy, there's 2 more guards. They added Dennis Schroeder in the offseason, which is a great compliment to Russell Westbrook off the bench. I think we're just seeing Russ he's knocking off that rust, basically. He's coming back from that injury. Paul George has been playing great, but in order for the Thunder to really make that deep run, they need to all mesh and they all need to play well. And that's including the bench. And like I said, when guys are going for 23 rebounds on you, it's going to be hard to win a game no matter what. So,
yeah, I agree with what I said. Like I said previously, Hornets at home or Houston at home, they always play well there, Um, but I think they're a pretender also. Like I said previously, they had their one shot at the Warriors, and I don't see them getting back to the Western Conference Finals again. So they had their one shot. Like everyone's been saying, George the last week he's been balling. Putting up 30 a night. He had 28 yesterday. Russ has done his thing, but I think Russ we kind of saw a couple weeks ago when they were winning a lot of games. He was not shooting as more. He was more of a facilitator, and they were he was shooting under 20 shots a game, and they were winning more games. And last night he went 6 for 20, so right around that. But yeah, I just think it was Harden had one of those great nights that he does many nights, and just home court, and just one of those things. But I think Thunder do have the ability to make a run, but I don't think that for Houston, though.
Yeah, I said this a couple weeks ago that the Houston Rockets is a pretender. And a big portion, and the main reason why I said that, is due to Chris Paul's absence of his health. I think Houston Rockets, they had a huge mistake of giving Chris Paul just all that money. Main reason is his health. He hasn't been, he's on the sidelines for some of the biggest games in his career. As you've seen last year, Game 7 Western Conference, he was sidelined. And most people say, Rockets would have won the game if Chris Paul was playing. But we'll never know. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. Then the Rockets fork him all his cash. But this is just the game, and then Chris Paul, he's done. Yes, is he still a decent player in the league? Absolutely. Is he a great player? Is he an all-star? No, those days are long gone. Those days of him being an LA Clipper are long gone. Especially when he's Hornets, those days are long gone. So the Rockets, James Harden night in, night out is absolutely going to have to backpack the team. But he won't be able to do it on his own, as we've seen in the past. When he's on his MVP days, aren't good enough. So it won't be enough for the Rockets. At the end of the day, it will not be better than the Golden State Warriors. And then if the Los Angeles Lakers play like they did last night, they won't be better than the Lakers and a couple other teams in the West. So Houston Rockets definitely a pretender.
My biggest thing with James Harden and why he's not very good in the postseason is that he gets a lot of calls in the regular season because he's attacking. I just feel like refs give out more calls in the regular season, and I feel like when he's in the postseason, especially on the road, he struggles he struggles to get those calls, and then his game gets worse because then he's a liability on defense and when it's not going. So we've seen many times Harden in big games. I remember a couple years, 6 points. So I'm not sold on the Rockets. They had their chance last year, they blew it, and they've gotten worse. So and other teams have gotten better. So I agree, they're a pretender, and some things will have to change for them to be a contender, in my opinion.
And James Harden is a player. Obviously, everyone knows that defense has been suspect. But he's the kind of guy where he's ball dominant. So when shots are falling, seems like he's always making the right play versus if it's a shot or a pass. Seems like he's a great facilitator when his shots are falling. When his shots aren't falling, it seems like he tries to do too much, tries to force too many things, and that's when I think James Harden decreases in his efficiency, and I think the Rockets pay for it. But when shots are falling, it seems like everything's just clicking, and the Rockets are much better. But he needs just to get to that point where he's being a facilitator and a defender no matter what, but he doesn't want to buy into that role. And I think that's what's holding his team back.
I agree. Again, to me, I think the Rockets can get in the playoffs, but they won't go far. The bottom of the Western Conference is like I said, is kind of iffy there. but the Rockets, they could sneak in as the 8 or the 7 seed, but they're not going to beat my Warriors. They're not going to beat the Lakers, and they're not going to beat the Thunder like that. You're not going to go into Oklahoma City and win. And, Thunder will probably pull one out in Houston. So, I mean, I can see them getting in the playoffs, but like you guys said, they're not going to, if they do, they're not going to get very far, if that. So that'll wrap it up for hold up.
Timeout.
Oh, boy.
Calling the TO on this one, fellas.
Okay.
I think the pretender label has an asterisk to it at this moment.
Okay.
I think Houston's going to make a splash at the trade deadline. They're going to sneak in. Now, I think there's one team in the West they can't beat at this moment. It's Warriors. Besides that, I think that if the Rockets get into the playoffs, they can make a run. Again, when a team is willing to give up 4 draft picks for a superstar, that means they're serious about acquiring somebody. And that's what they did for, they put that on the table for Jimmy Butler. I think you're going to see teams selling a little bit more at this trade deadline. They're already rumored to be interested in KCP. J.R. Smith kind of shore up that wing spot. I believe they have Daniel House starting at small forward right now. So I definitely see them going out and making a big trade this trade deadline. And they're going to sneak into the playoffs. Don't get me wrong. But I do see them, beating the 2 seed or beating the 3 seed even when they get in the playoffs in the Western Conference.
You said KCP and who else? J.R. Smith.
Yeah, J.R. Swish.
Yeah, just stop it, Trav. You think acquiring one of those 2 guys is going to make some noise in the West?
Not a chance, as I would say.
Player, KCP.
J.R. Smith is just trying to find a shirt.
If the Rockets would have to get like a superstar, probably.
Yeah.
Just because we haven't even seen DeMarcus Cousins in a Warriors jersey yet. And if he plays it all well, they're going to get better. And I think people are underlooking the Lakers. Like we saw a little bit last night, but the Lakers are starting to glue. And that's not even to say they don't make a splash and move one of their pieces. But I really think the young core and then mixed in with some of the veterans is the Lakers are gluing right now. So, I don't think they can beat those 2 teams. The Thunder, they might be able to beat because you just never know. Russell has struggled before in the playoffs, even Paul George, and they've had some, like last year against Utah, they shot the ball awful. Mm-hmm. They hung in there just because they play hard, but they weren't able to win. So might be able to do that, but to really play with the top 2 teams, which in my opinion are the Warriors and Lakers, like I think they're far away from that now. Chris Paul comes back healthy and they add a superstar, sure, it might be a different argument, but I really think they need another superstar.
I don't even
Trav,
think
there's 5 or 6 teams that beat the Rockets in a 7-game series right now in the West.
Chris Paul unhealthy, yeah, probably. But you get Chris Paul back even midway through the season. He's healthy for the last couple games. I don't even think they need a superstar. I think they need a decent, 3-and-D type of guy, a glue player for them. Because obviously Harden needs his shots. When Chris Paul comes back, he's going to want to get his. I think you have a great rebounder in Capella. Again, when he can grab 10 offensive rebounds to the shooters that they have, that's amazing for them. That's perfect. So like I said, and I know everybody's saying pretender. I'm putting an asterisk around it at this point in time. I'll come back to it after the trade deadline. We'll see if the Rockets pull the trigger, but I'm putting an asterisk on it so far.
Yeah, I'm with you. They can make the playoffs. I just don't think they'll go far. If they do beat a 2 or 3 seed, good for them, but good luck beating Golden State. Good luck beating, to me, eventually Utah, but we'll get into that eventually. So that'll wrap it up for the Rockets, and we'll get into the barn burner, Celtics and the Sixers.